So we're back taking a look at Skylanders, almost a year after I said, hey, it's not that fucking bad, you morons. But honestly, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that moving forward, because there are still many more games and many more figures left to come. I had enough trouble trying to find all of mine after a year's worth of misplacement. I had put them all into a box, but somehow they were scattered all throughout the room until I found them, watching over me. I don't even remember owning half of these figures, but oh well, it's about time we jump into Skylanders Giants. Who said modern franchises with yearly releases was a bad thing? Me? Never. Following all the money Activision made killing your childhood with Spyro's Adventure, they released Giants the following year to more truckloads of cold hard crash. This year's installment starts off with chaos in the human world, in a toy store complaining and antagonising a bunch of Skylanders figures. This is really fucking weird, honestly. I appreciated the explanation last time that due to a Big Bang event, all the Skylanders got stranded on Earth and it was up to us to find them all and bring them back. But now they just come right out and say, hey kids, none of this is real. It's too far through the fourth wall for me, but it's not that important, I guess. As we go through the opening tutorial level, we learn of the Giants, ancient Skylanders who fought off monstrous Archean robots led by whoever wore the Fist of Arcus. While I'm not a fan of the whole they are actually toys aspect of the story, in the same way I hate Assassin's Creed for the whole Animus, this is all in a dream shit, I can appreciate the effort of building up this world's lore, incorporating those few levels from the first game into it, and giving a new generation a cool history to explore. Back in my day, all we had was the objective of an ass to kick and a chick to bang. None of this world building shit. But that is essentially what this is. Bad guy finds thing, tries to use said thing to take over the world. We use our things to stop him, earning us a hot thing to stick with our thing. Wait, scrap that last part. Gotta keep this kid friendly. With some new figures building onto the roster of Skylanders and some returning characters with new toys, I must say, I am a little pissed off that I can't simply transfer my Series 1 trigger happy stats onto his new figure. But oh well, at least I can still use the old toy. That's honestly the biggest appeal for me about these games, is that I don't lose any progress between new releases, which is something not many franchises can claim to do. But having said that, who in the fuck thought it necessary to make me sit here and reset ownership of all these figures? Whenever I get a new figure, I'll reset its stats so that I'm not using someone else's save data. But it's also important to tell the game that you own this figure. Not only does it add to the overall completion, but doing this grants you in-game benefits like stronger elemental power, which is something I want. That's fine, but doing this for all of my figures from the first game means that I no longer own them back there, which is stupid. I actually went back to the first game just to purchase some upgrades cheaper than I could in Giants. I should have unlocked an achievement for fully upgrading a single Skylander, but instead, not only did I not get it because I didn't own the Skylander anymore, I didn't unlock it with a Skylander I did reset ownership for because I don't even know! Apparently this achievement is known to be a little glitchy, or I guess it just locks you out from earning it if you haven't done it all from scratch in this game. That's fucking bullshit! Why isn't this ownership linked to my Xbox profile instead of the game's save file? So now I have to ask myself, is it worth sitting here when I start each game, adding all of these figures to my collection over and over again every fucking time, just for the sake of some slightly more powerful characters? Well, the answer is yes. Regardless of that, the big seller here are the Giants figures. There are only 8 to collect, 1 of each element, and I must point out the genius marketing here. What would you rather buy? This toy or this toy? The giant figures are certainly impressive, they even light up when you use them. But as you'd expect, the big characters also move at a snail's pace. They're so big and clunky in-game, great for combat, but you don't really leave them on when you're just walking about the level. Unfortunately, the only real gameplay they bring to the table is feats of strength, simple button-mashing segments to find more treasure chests and hats, no different from the elemental areas seen in the first game, which also make a return. That's about the only reason I'll ever put a dumb hat on my character, is to speed that slow bitch up. I just think it's such a shame that you don't really need any of these figures to get through the main meat of the game. So they're pointless. Great. Beyond the simple Giants gameplay, everything else is much the same as last time. We make our way through levels, killing enemies, doing as much optional content as you can unlock, and completing basic puzzles. In addition to those seen last time, this game also introduces Sky Stones. It's a board game. You place down pieces with various hit point values, and win by owning more pieces on the board than your opponent. I'm fine with this honestly, it'd be better as a standalone handheld or mobile title maybe, but it doesn't hurt the game at all. In fact, I actually enjoyed the challenge a few of them offer, and it gives you something else to spend treasure on, beyond upgrades. Though at the end of the day, it's just padding, clogging up the overall experience. I'd honestly prefer more multi-element puzzles instead. We see these in the hub areas of both games now. They require at least one Skylander of each element that, when completed, offer a good prize. It would have been nice to see this idea implemented more into side quests of levels, using a magic figure to access an area with movable blocks only fire characters can move. Yeah, it's gimmicky and encourages you to buy more shit, but when you look at it, there is nothing in that concept these games aren't already going for, and is almost a reward for collecting at least one figure of each element. Just a thought is all. But even though this game is still rocking the same repetitive format it was before, and really is just a reskin bottom line, it is a much more polished experience and therefore is much more enjoyable to play. For starters, the hub area this time is a flying pirate ship, which you can actually find items for within levels. These can be used to primitively customize its appearance, and even allow access to new areas on board. Pretty cool, and the smaller ship is much better to navigate than the large homeworld we saw previously. There are also only 16 levels this time around versus the 22 base game levels we saw last time, but Giants makes up for that in length. Levels on average take some 30 to 40 minutes to complete, exploring each area and completing tasks. Some levels include lots of interior rooms which sometimes house important items and other times don't offer anything. Kind of annoying, especially coming off of a survival horror game where that is literally the entire experience, but it's not a game breaker. Honestly, it's hard to complain really about anything level-wise, as each level this time around has its own unique theme. In Spyro's Adventure, we'd have 2 or 3 locations for each element type, but now we just get a large variety of different locations. This helps to make new levels feel new and exciting to explore, because you really don't know what you're getting into with some of these. Armories with towers to climb and hazards everywhere, large canyons with a series of dams you need to remove, large drill platforms ripped right out of Jak 2, and my personal favourite, a creepy town filled with puppets and switches that turn life on and off. Clearly the developers hit their stride with this. It actually feels like a world this time instead of a bucket list of generically themed locations. Even the bosses this time are so much better. We're not just avoiding patterns on screen and fighting dark minions every fucking time. They're nothing overly special or even that memorable to be honest, but they are an improvement for sure, especially the final battle against Chaos. It's short and simple like myself, but still a decent end to the game. Of course, Chaos is foiled and sent packing until the next adventure. You can just tell by the language used in the final cutscene, these guys know they've got a lot more money to make yet. The post-game content is also pretty decent. Callie's challenge levels return alongside a good selection of arena challenges, and more can be purchased from stores throughout the game. And of course, grinding for achievements. The Nightmare difficulty is also unlocked for some extra challenge after beating the game. Overall, despite some minor problems still present, like an overabundance of button mashing and mindless puzzles, Giants takes a lot of strong steps in the right direction, having more direction with the level design and really cleaning up the experience. So, Skylanders Giants gets 7 out of 10. The built-in cheapness factor that comes with a product like this will always hurt it in the long run, but in the end, this was still very enjoyable for me to the point where I had trouble putting it down, and I think that speaks volumes. While I think it would take something seriously amazing for a game in this series to pull in an even higher score, I'm still looking forward to the next title regardless. So I hope you'll join me next time when we do just that. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share. I'm Square Eye Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Thanks for watching. It's at this point I'd like to give a huge thank you shout out to Junksy for donating all of the new Giants figures featured in this video. Cheers mate, appreciate ya.